making sure we're asking you the tough questions. It's questions that you squirm a little. You're a little uncomfortable. You're going, oof. But guess what? Better I ask it
Yeah.
and get the right answers and make sure I understand it so I can sell it better.
Hey guys, it's Neil along with Orrin for I think, and Orrin, correct me if I'm wrong, episode 5 of
I
our.
think that's it. Yeah.
Wow, look at us, man. We're almost halfway through the year.
Yeah. Just about. But it's
Yeah.
been good.
Yeah. What have you been up to lately?
Been a lot of conversations, a lot of deals closing. We
Good.
hoping Thanksgiving throws a little wrinkle in getting everything completed this year, but
And
I still hope.
is that traditionally a kind of a time of the year when things slow down a little?
Yeah, I don't usually have this many in the hopper still to close this year compared to what's going to happen in first quarter of 26. I still have 5
5. Wow. That's a lot
that
of activity.
that yeah, it's crazy time and but it's good. It's really good. I hope to get. I'm talking 5 that are scheduled to close, not what's in the first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
So if we can get all 5 across the finish line, at least 4 of the 5 across the
Yeah.
finish line, it's good.
Yeah.
Best year ever.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit in a minute about getting
Yeah.
things over the finish line, or at least up to the finish line, then over to the finish line. But hey,
Exactly.
just real quick, I've also had a busy time. I've been traveling. This is the first time I'm back in my office, which, with what I'm doing, I've got so much going on that I need office time. I go out and
Sure.
sort of do what I do. I need to come back to the office to sort it all out. Anyway, I was at the USG Elite Summit that was happened up in a beautiful resort in Napa. I got to hang out with some real big customers up there. And then I came back for a few days and was off to the coffee and tea show in Miami. Same thing,
Yes.
just lots of discussions and really good things going on, but lots of mergers and acquisitions I learnt while I was out on the trail. But Bettoli, a big company in Miami, longtime family company, sold to Canteen.
Yes.
Up the freeway in the middle of, I forget where it was, but in the middle of Florida, drop a coin, sold to Canteen. And
Yes.
then the big one in Crickler Vending up in
Yes.
upstate New York, sold to Continental Canteen.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
that's a franchise selling to a franchise.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Crickler was a franchise. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's consolidation of franchises, which you see happen
Yeah.
in the canteen franchise world.
Yeah.
That just makes the purchasing power of Food Buy and Compass Group
Yeah.
that much stronger when you
Yeah.
bring these 3 companies in,
Hmm.
and there's a lot more in the hopper. They're
Yeah.
very busy. Canteen is very busy. Everybody's very busy,
Everybody's
truthfully.
very
It's not
busy.
just Canteen. I know American Food and Vending bought somebody
Yeah.
and a couple of people, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
and others.
Yeah.
I've heard uh, that InReach is a little slow. They've slowed it down a little bit. They're
Okay.
not as active,
Yep.
but there's also a couple of big ones with a couple of others that I'm hearing should
Yeah.
close in the next couple of months. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
so
That's good.
more to come on that one. I know of a couple through friends that
Yeah.
are rather large that are supposed to be closing.
Yeah.
So
Hey, and that's
yeah.
good for our show, right? Because this is what we're all about, teaching people just a few tips and tricks about
And
how
those
to
are
figure this out.
and those aren't to the big ones. Those are little private equity
Yeah.
and in wanting to get into this more.
Yeah.
And that whole piece is heating up also. So it's
Totally.
an
Yeah.
interesting time to be in our business. And
Hmm.
if you're looking to sell, you did an article, AI. I had 2 conversations with people today, as a matter of fact, AI driven,
Yep. Okay.
that they see what's happening. As a matter of fact, they read the little article last
Yep.
week on vending connection,
Okay.
and they wanted to know more thoughts on what's going to happen with AI and when is it happening and
Yeah.
what are the concerns. And I think I talked to a third person earlier today that said they're more concerned about second half of their fiscal,
Mm-hmm.
P3, P4, in white collar places, which is interesting because the article that went through Vending Connection talked about blue collar and robots.
Yeah. Yes.
But what really got people's attention was Amazon laying off the 30,000 white collar workers.
Wow.
And why did they do that?
Yeah.
And what does that mean? And I think you're going to see more and more white collar
Yeah.
jobs lost to AI
Yep.
even before you see the robotics set in.
Blue collar for the robots and white collar for the AI.
People don't understand how fast this is happening and how fast people are losing their jobs. What does that mean? It means when you take a look at your locations, let's say you're in the coffee business, giving free coffee or they're giving pantry, and they start not hiring people to replace people, or they start trickling. Say you just have a 100 person account and all of a sudden they're down to 80.
Yeah.
And you don't hear about big layoffs, and you
Right.
don't hear about massive people being
Mhm.
let go in Amazon, where 30,000 made big news. But you're also seeing it in other industries, and you're also seeing it in other places. And it's 6,000 here and it's 5,000 there. It's a marketing, it's an HR. What they're finding is AI can do as well, if not better, in those spots, in those certain areas. Much, much better than the people sitting at the desk. So what do? They don't have to have healthcare. They don't have
Yeah.
snacks and beverages. They don't have to have all of the pieces that a person costs. Now,
Yeah.
am I a big fan of that?
Mm-hmm.
It's progress. No, I'm not, because it hurts our industry. But at the same time, let's not stick our head in the sand and say
Yeah.
it's not going to happen or it's not going to be me.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be everybody. And how are you adjusting? How are you going to adjust? What are you doing? Are you setting a minimum today
Mm-hmm.
for what happens a year from now or 5 years from now? Because all the equipment in the world today, everybody's back to work and everybody's going, finally, we're getting more people back in the office.
Yeah.
I'm going to give all this equipment. And then it starts trickling less. And how are you protecting yourself? If you're thinking about selling, they're still paying a good amount. There's still a lot of interest, both national players, regional players, local. Private equity wants to get in, venture capitalists want to start investing. If you think about all those pieces and you put it together, it's still good to get out while AI hasn't taken a piece of your business,
Mm-hmm.
because you have to worry about your competition taking business, but you also have to worry about AI
Yeah.
having its hand in your
Yeah.
pocket.
Not to mention a pandemic. What happened with COVID, right? That can come out of the blue too.
You don't know. But again, you have to be mentally ready to sell,
Yep.
and your business has to be prepared to sell. And there's a lot of people who said it's not going to happen to me. I hear a lot of people saying, I've had my best October. I had my best September. I'm having my best year ever.
Mm-hmm.
Why would I think about it now? I always say you're having your best year until you're not.
Yep. Yep.
There's red flags, there's warning signs. I
Yep.
don't want to be a Debbie Downer,
Yep.
but you need to at least entertain the thoughts about what are you going to do should this continue
Yes.
to happen.
Mm-hmm. Hey, two things real quick before we get into today's topic. But at the USG Elite Summit, there was a private equity guy there that was really a cool guy. And he had a very interesting model where they come in and just buy a portion of your company. But part of the deal is the owner still needs to stay in place.
That's
So
right.
that the owner can get a little bit of a bite now,
Yep.
and then the private equity guy keeps them on invested owners. I thought that was an
So
interesting model.
that's really where it's going
Mm-hmm.
with them. If somebody's short on cash and they really need some capital input, well, what's driving that? You get somebody who comes in with some cash. Yes, they're going to have a say. Yes, they're going to try to influence Are you doing business correctly? Those are all factors, but you can get yourself some nice cash infusion with some of the PEs compared to selling at 100%. You don't have to completely get out to see how this moves. But at the same time,
Yeah.
you're going to have certain growth targets. You're going to need top line, bottom line activities, improvements, if they're going to start putting their money in there. And they have to
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah.
But that comes down to everything we've talked about. Are you preparing to sell day one? Are you watching your gross profit? Are you keeping track of your processes? Are you um, pricing when you need to price? How are you managing your people? Do you have good teams of people? If you stepped away, would the business still succeed? Those are all the pieces that they look for before they're going to buy. And if any of those pieces aren't going to work, they might not invest.
Right. I'll tell you what, it's definitely been a theme of over the last 5 episodes. What I've learned is be ready to sell the day you open. Because
Absolutely.
it absolutely makes you focus in on the key elements of running your company, which if you don't sell good, you'll get to profitability quicker.
Absolutely. I've had more people call for on the consulting side,
Mm-hmm.
just saying, okay, heard your podcast, hit me between the eyes a couple of times because they've heard it a few times. How can I get better? What do I need to do? Where are we going to get the improvements should I want to sell? That's where we're at. And we're really driving conversation. We're driving thought process, Neil. I believe whether or not they sign with us or they go wherever they go, at the end of the day, we're creating the thoughtfulness about how people are running business, which is what our goal was from day one, is to really help people and get them prepared, whether that's now or a year from now or 10 years from now. I think just from conversations I've had, I feel good that we're doing something right and it's all good.
Yeah, no, I've actually lived my entire career based on what you just said. I just want to positively contribute to this really cool ecosystem that we all play in, being the refreshment services industry. But whether people use us or not, it doesn't bother me. It'll come around to us later, which
The thing. And people recognize what we're trying to say is accurate. But
mhm,
there's a lot of people who are small business owners who've never had the ability
mhm,
or had the access to some of what we're saying today. And they're just running 100 miles an hour, 100 hours a week, but they don't even realize what has to be done in order to do it right. And so I think we're just getting them to think differently, think appropriately, and ask questions,
mhm.
which is going to improve the entire industry. I don't care who you are, where you are. If they're thinking about it in the ways we've discussed,
Mhm.
it's going to be better across the
Yep,
board.
yep. Love that. Love that. Hey, let's jump into a few topics that I've got noted down here. But first of all, Orrin, how important are contracts for the operators to have with their clients to help them overall when they go to sell their company?
Contracts with clients is so important, and people are confused at times as to what I mean by that. What's in a contract, Neil? Most people think they won't sign with me for 3 years or 5 years or 2 years or 4 years or even 1 year. Okay, everybody runs into that at times. When you sell your business, the more business you have under contract, the more likely you're going to get a better dollar for it. And the reason for that is because there's a commitment beyond today or tomorrow or next month. That's number one. Number two, if you get a contract, the perfect reason is you want to be partners with whatever account you sell. Sell a new account, you have to be partners, and that's a two-way street. There
Yeah.
can always be a performance clause, and there should be a performance clause. If we don't perform within 90 days, and you reach out to us and we can't fix it, let's be honest. If you can't fix something in 90 days, you shouldn't have the account. You can have a 3-year, a 5-year contract with a performance clause where if you're not performing, they come back to you and you have the opportunity to fix it. But there's another piece to it. And I just had this conversation with somebody last week, a week before last. In a contract or an agreement, you always have liabilities. Who's responsible if a machine falls on somebody, if they kink a water line in it and it floods a break room and maybe the floor below, right? If they burn themselves on something, if a product breaks, like a bottle breaks and what happens. There's always all of these pieces. Who's responsible for what? If the client kinks the water line and breaks it, it's really not the fault of the operator, and the operator's insurance shouldn't be paying for that. And the liability should fall on the client, not the operator. It's not to say we get in fights with people. It's not to say we're going to be adversarial. But in a contract, it doesn't always have to be a time contract. Every single client has to be under a contract because you have to lay out who's liable for what happens when certain situations come up. If we can't agree on it, how does it get settled? In all those pieces. If you have no contracts and somebody comes to me and says, I don't have any contracts, right off the bat, even though we push hard for them, they might ask for a larger amount held back during that time period, right? The due diligence, you get to close. It could be 80-20, 80% paid out, 20% held back. If you don't have contracts, maybe it's 70-30. Maybe you don't get as much on the top. There's different ways that they still might buy it, but they might not pay you as much or might not be as inclined. They also might come back to you and say, I'll buy it, but I want your top 25 accounts to be under contract by the time we close.
Orrin, in your best estimation, when you're out selling companies, how many legacy customers have contracts? Is it across their whole business? Is it 60-40? In your estimation, what does the market look like to you?
It's the size of the business. I find more rural area, $1 to $3 million legacy people don't have contracts.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to 5 million, 10 million, whether it's newer or legacy, you're going to see them with more contracts. They've learned over time, contracts are important.
Mm-hmm.
They get contracts, and it's very important when you're selling to be able to show that. They've gotten burned enough times without contracts
Yeah.
that they understand that if I'm going to invest in you, you need to also invest in me. And it's a partnership. It's and they're not begging for the business. They want to grow, but they're not begging for the business. The business has to be good. When you get to, especially some of the bigger regional players, they won't even consider putting in equipment without an agreement of some sort.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, and going back to what you said, if there's a vending machine laying on top of somebody, right? It's because there's only one reason that happens. It wasn't an earthquake happened and the machine jumped off the ground and landed on you. You
Yeah.
were shaking it. And I
Yeah.
know that because back in the day when I played basketball at West Hills Junior College, whoever came out of the gym first had the opportunity to pull that Coke machine over and shake it and get a couple of cans out. Because if I didn't do it, the other guys on the team would.
And it happens all the time. And who's responsible for that? Right? I mean,
Yeah,
technically, they can come back and say, you didn't secure it to the wall. How many machines are really secured to the wall, right? From a liability standpoint. The good thing is you have cameras almost in every single room nowadays. I mean, there really isn't a lot going on that you don't have a camera. If somebody's doing something
yeah,
they shouldn't be,
yeah,
it's going to get caught more often than not.
yeah,
Today,
yep,
But you still have to understand contracts when you sell your business. Extremely important to have a document of some sort
Mhm.
with your clients. And most people think it has to be time related. Yeah, of course you'd like time related, but you have to lay out liabilities,
Yeah.
insurance, and how things get settled if there's an issue. It's really important to do that. And it shows that you're running your business right when you're selling it.
Yeah. All right. So you're in the middle of negotiation with a client. You can pull out, show them that you've got everyone under contract. That's one. What about gray and black areas of your business? How do you explain that? Because there's just a lot of business out there. I can say that for me too. Is you just have to come in and see it for yourself. How do
Yeah,
you distinguish between all that stuff?
when you go to sell your business and you get a lot of tough questions from the buyer, I don't know, maybe a little bit of this, a little bit. Yeah, again, less gray, more black, right? We want to say, here's what's happening. Here's that goes to a lot of different things. This is what the reason we made improvement the last 6 months because compared to the prior year or 2 years is because A, B, C, and D. It shows that you've seen your business, you've made improvements on your business, and that's why it's a better business to buy, right? Black and white. If they ask, I'm looking at your balance sheet and it's showing X, but you're telling me Y, how come? As an intermediary, my job is to ask those tough questions before we even go to the operator who's looking to purchase you. Because I don't want to say, I don't know, let me get back to you. Or that's a good question. I probably should have had that answer. Or you're right. That doesn't make sense to me either. I go back to we take the data. There are people out there who love to, I'm going to sell your business for you. Send me your data. And they take that data and they forward it on the prospective buyer. And they say, what do you think we should get for it? And there's more who do that than you think. With us, we could spend a whole month just putting your data together, putting it, making it concise, making sure people understand it, making sure we're asking you the tough questions, questions that you squirm a little, you're a little uncomfortable, you're going, oof. But guess what? Better I ask it
Yeah.
and get the right answers and make sure I understand it so I can sell it better. Because I've sat in that chair where you're sitting. I understand. You don't have every answer, but the more black and white answers you can have compared to gray, leaving it up to interpretation, it's really not good to have that.
Yeah.
But being able to relay and tell people this is the reason why this happened and this is the improvements we've made, etc., it's important. If you have an intermediary who's or broker who's not asking you tough questions and he or she is just collecting information,
Yeah.
find yourself another intermediary
Yeah.
because they aren't gonna at the end of the day, you need to answer tough questions and understand your business and be ready. And they need to be ready to be able to sell it right.
Yep. What about details around assets? A lot of vendors will grow their business and at the end of it go, I don't know how many machines we've got out there. But that's something right there that you should create an asset register, maybe, right from day one, have everything listed.
Everything listed. And even if you're in business 5 years and you're 300 machines out or whatever, go out and collect the information, get that information. When you sell, they're going to come back to you and say, what equipment do you have? And when they say, how old is the equipment? I have one right now. How old is the equipment? The seller doesn't have any idea
Mm.
what the age of his equipment is, but he knows all of it has been purchased within the last 4 years. I can go back and say it's anywhere from a year old to 4 years old.
Mhm.
And this particular equipment is going to last. It's okay, right? But it's not as good of an answer as here's my X amount of machines and here's what we have. If you don't have it, go out and get it. What do you have at each stop? Make, model, serial number, age. Have all of that if you even can go to it's in the east break room or the west break room, it all helps. But start collecting the information. If you're just starting out, from day one, you should know where every single asset you have is, and you should track it, whether it's in the warehouse, whether it's at a location. If you swap it out, comes back to the warehouse, you should know where it is. But have a list, an asset list of every piece of equipment you have. And if you throw one away, make sure you get it off your asset list.
Right. I wonder if the VMSs all have a place in their equipment detail where, from a daily operational point of view, yep, you can run your company, but maybe a little bit more to where if you push the button one day, it gives you an exact printout of that asset list. Maybe they already have that.
Oh, they do have it.
Okay.
They do have it. If you're starting out with systems right from day one, this is you need this. If you're not, whenever you have a piece of equipment, you need to know where it's going. You need to have it listed either at a stop or a warehouse or something. But before that piece of equipment goes anywhere, you've got that make, model, serial number, every little piece of it of that asset that you can put together, you need to have, and you need to know where it's going. So that when whoever you're selling to says, okay, what assets are coming with the business? Or what equipment is at each location? I've had people who've had to scramble. They have 400 machines and they have route guys going out there and they say, you need to get the make, model, and serial number off of every one of the machines. And they're going, how come? We're putting it into a system is the usual. It's who's coming to visit. My banker is. That's why all these strangers are walking in my front door. But it's hard to recreate it once
Yes.
it's all on location.
Hey,
When
not
it's
totally to your point, right? If it's on location and it's full and it's backed up to a wall and you've got to try to move that machine out just to take a peek at all these things, oh, that is quadruple the work.
seen people with mirrors, right? They put a big long mirror on it and they're going in the back and they're trying to read it off of the
Oh
mirror
my gosh.
and in order to get it. I've seen it too many times, but if you do it from day one, it's no different than we go back to Neil, which with what you said earlier. Run your business, it's for sale from day one.
Yep.
Know where every asset is. Know where you could have 100 bean to cut machines out there and somebody goes and picks it up and you're not keeping track
Yeah.
and it disappears and they go out and they sell it on eBay. Well, that's your
Gosh.
piece of equipment. It's probably going to your competitor down the street, by the way,
Yeah.
right? And who's buying a $5,000 bean to cut machine for $1,000?
Cash
You
only.
need to manage your assets just you manage every other piece of the business. When you go to sell, the more detail you have, the more black you have instead of gray,
Mhm.
the processes written down, you have everything that you normally do, whether it's a systems or whether it's processes, you have it in writing, you keep it updated. That's what's going to get you best money when you go to sell.
I love that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to add something to my repertoire. I have a lot of newbies coming to me and just did a podcast actually went live today, Goodland Vending. Check it out on the Neil from New Zealand show. We
I
just
have it on
watched the
my
guy.
I have it on my to-do list.
Okay, good. He went from 0 to 6 machines in 6 months. He's got 6
Yes.
more lined up. And we talked about technology. He is fully teched up from top to bottom, which is awesome. But I'm going to go back to him and I'm going to tell him a few of these tips as you start now while you've just got 6 machines. Get an asset register going, get all this important information and start to push of a button one day. Maybe, I don't know, 2, 4, 5 years from now, you can just be ready to go if necessary.
Don't know. You don't know when you're ready to sell.
Yeah.
Keep whatever detail you feel is needed, just we've covered on all of our prior shows. This is important. Detail is important. Contracts, even if it's only for liability, it's not only the right way to run your business, by the way, but it's also needed if you want to have an exit strategy.
Yep.
So
Excellent. Great stuff, Orrin. That'll wrap it. We're just right on that 30-minute mark, which I like to keep it at, but great advice. And if we could help one or two people get a few extra percentage points at the end of the day from being prepared, oh man, that would be a big win for both of us.
absolutely. It's a win for them, it's a win for us, and it's a win for the industry.
Yep, exactly. All right, Orrin, appreciate it.
Good talking.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye. Years. You need to think about what does that
Hold on,
look
Orrin,
like.
I lost my cord.
Uh-oh. Got to be able to hear what we have to say. What does that mean?
Thank you. I need some AI help me on the old video
Step.
production side.
Did you
Hold on.